that Mahmood Ali Durrani was made the fall guy and probably made to say this?
I think there's some credence in that. I mean, the Prime Minister Gilani is scarcely known as someone who takes bold measures. On a number of occasions, he's actually shrunk like a violet before pressures from the army, from abroad, and so on. For him to take a step like this, and it is a drastic step, although there was a break of protocol, there was insubordination, for him to do something like this, he must have had serious backing. I don't think he was acting on his own.
Yeah, that's what he's also said. I mean, to be honest, he said, I was asked to say this. Now, Joe Biden's coming tomorrow to Islamabad. That's very important because Joe Biden, next Vice President of America, will determine what Obama's policy is going to be. Maruf has a question there for General Qureshi. Go ahead, Maruf.
Sure. General, you've been experienced as very close to President Musharraf. You've seen the situation in Pakistan. You know, my argument has always been that I think General Musharraf, one of his shortcomings was, in the eyes of the army and the public, that he was seen to be soft on India. And I did remember that he came up with some very out-of-the-box solutions on resolving Kashmir and other outstanding disputes. Do you feel that if anybody in the current civilian establishment continues to tender the line that Mr. Zardari some time ago took, in which he wanted to look beyond the outstanding dispute of Kashmir, do you think that is going to narrow down the time frame within which the civilian government would get to operate? And do you feel the military establishment is already losing patience with the sorry picture that the civilians are presenting to the world? And to that extent, is it kind of repeat of history?
I don't think so. I think a very deliberate step was taken by President Musharraf and the current army chief to totally disassociate the army from what people started calling during President Musharraf's time as army rule. And I do not know whether you'll disagree with this, but let me tell you, it wasn't army rule. Yes, the president,
right,
President Musharraf, was an army man.
Right.
But it wasn't that the corps commanders or the other army was involved in governance. So therefore, no, please let me finish.
Yes, please.
So therefore, I disagree. I don't think the army is going to get upset with what's happening in the civilian government. It's the civilians, it's the people of Pakistan who are upset at what's happening in the government.
Well, I'll only say this.
Unfortunately,
I'll say this, General Qureshi. I know I'm repeating myself every time I say this when you're on air, but I have a feeling that slinking back somewhere, you know, over his biryani this evening is Parvez Musharraf watching all of this and saying, it's a matter of time, I'm going to come back. Maybe that was on Omar's mind when he was smiling as you were giving that answer. Omar, what were you thinking of?
No, the reason I was smiling was the notion that General Musharraf's rule was an army rule. I mean, it was, as they like to say, unity of command. He wasn't elected, he was a military dictator for the entire period. The parliament had very attenuated powers, and I think a lot of people in India should appreciate that this chance at democracy should be salvaged and should be given some sort of time. The reason why there may not be military intervention anytime soon is because General Musharraf's rule did so much damage to the army's public image.
Okay. Now, these are different points of view. I know that, but that's an internal Pakistani debate. And General Qureshi, we'll leave it at that here. Thank you, Omar, and General Qureshi, and to Maruf Raza for coming here and joining us on an important day when there's a lot of confusion within Pakistan.